Hello everyone and welcome. This is Noah with Nomad Gaming and we are here with an exciting news video for the Marvel Champions LCG, bringing you the latest information from FFG's live stream on April 2nd. We've got all the details on the new campaign expansion, hero reveals, new player cards, encounter sets, and villains. So stay tuned and let's get to it. Of course, we're talking about the Rise of Red Skull campaign expansion. This set will feature 265 new cards, both player and encounter cards. There will be 2 playable heroes, both of them in pre-constructed decks. The stream revealed that these are going to be Hawkeye, featuring the leadership aspect, and Spider-Woman, featuring the aggression and justice aspects. It has been confirmed that there are no protection cards in this expansion. Along with our hero decks and aspect cards, the campaign will consist of 5 new scenarios and 5 villains. That's right, count them: Crossbones, Absorbing Man, Taskmaster, Zola, and of course Red Skull are coming to the game. Included with the box, we will be getting instructions and rules for campaign play, which we will expand on in just a moment. So let's jump in and take a look at what we know about our new heroes, their signature cards, and the decks they will come with. As noted, we've got 2 new heroes in this expansion, and you can see them here as revealed on the live stream. So let's jump in and take a closer look at Hawkeye and his alter ego, Clint Barton. Clint Barton's going to give us a fairly standard set of stats with 3 recover, 6 hand size, and 9 health. He comes with a shield keyword and an action ability that reads, Weapon of Choice. Action, spend 1 resource of any type. Search your deck and discard pile for Hawkeye's bow and add it to your hand. Shuffle your deck. Limit once per phase. This looks like an upgraded version of Captain America's ability, which could only be used during setup, or the mortal version of Thor's ability, which didn't require resources to use to get the hammer back. But of course, Hawkeye needs his bow to function, so in alter ego form, we can make sure that he's always got access to that bow. Flipping over to take a look at our hero mode gives us Hawkeye. This is kind of middling stats here. We've got 1 thwart, 2 attack, and 1 defense. He's got a 5 hand size and still at 9 health. Hawkeye has the Avenger keyword and the ability Quick Draw. Exhaust Hawkeye to red-eye Hawkeye's bow. We're going to need to understand the bow mechanics to discuss this one, so let's take a look at some of the signature cards that were revealed with Hawkeye. Of course, here you can see we had 4 signature cards that were revealed with Hawkeye. The first 2 look to hold the strategy and gameplay together, giving us access to the bow and arrows that are going to make Hawkeye Hawkeye. And the final 2 showing us the versatility of Hawkeye's arsenal of arrows. With Hawkeye's bow, we get a 0-cost upgrade with the weapon keyword. It is restricted and says your hero gets +1 attack, and each of your arrow attacks gains ranged. Ranged is going to be a new keyword that was revealed during this, and range is going to ignore retaliate. So it really embraces that theme of letting you be further away from your enemies, plucking away with arrows, and letting you get your damage in without having to take that extra retaliation damage, especially with Hawkeye's small health pool. Of course, every archer is going to need a quiver, and Hawkeye is no exception. We see Hawkeye's quiver will be a 1-cost upgrade with the item keyword. It reads, you may play arrow events attached to this card as if they are in your hand. Hero action, exhaust Hawkeye's quiver and search the top 5 cards of your deck for an arrow event and attach it face up to this card. So the quiver is going to help us search out the right arrow for the right moment in the game, possibly stockpiling arrows for future turns and setting up big combinations. 2 of our arrows were revealed as part of the stream, and they were the Explosive Arrow and Sonic Arrow, which show us the remaining gameplay mechanics here for Hawkeye. So first, let's take a peek at Explosive Arrow, which is a 1-cost event with the arrow keyword. It reads, hero action, exhaust Hawkeye's bow and choose a player, deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. And then on Sonic Arrow, we see it's a 2-cost event with the arrow and attack keywords, which reads, hero action attack, exhaust Hawkeye's bow, confuse an enemy and deal 3 damage to it. 5 damage instead if it is already confused. So we can see from the 2 revealed arrows that the bow is going to be essential to play as Hawkeye. You're going to be exhausting the bow to shoot your arrows, and with the ability on your hero, we can ready the bow and do it again as needed. It looks like our arrows are going to carry an array of useful abilities, and one key to success with this hero is going to be the ability to get those arrows attached to your quiver so you can choose the right one for the perfect moment in time to swing the game over to your favor. Our other hero is going to present her own special type of deck building and gameplay strategy. So let's jump over and take a look at everyone's favorite double agent. Here we see we've got Jessica Drew and Spider-Woman. Of course, we are talking about Jessica Drew, and on our alter ego side, Jessica Drew is going to give us 3 recover, 6 hand size, and 11 hit points. She has the keyword shield and spy, and the ability double agent, which reads choose 2 aspects of instead of 1 during deck building. You must include an equal number of cards from those aspects in your deck. She also has an action ability that says look at the top card of any deck, limit once per round. Now this is something to be excited about. The live stream told us that developers really wanted to explore the development options around deck building, and if this is the first foray into that space, I am very excited to see what else they've come up with. Playing with 2 aspects will give us access to an array of tools to take on any task at hand, and this toolbox style of deck building has the potential to be great in campaign mode, where you can bring in the best cards from up to 2 aspects and be set for multiple different scenarios and challenges. The drawback here is that you have to use the same number of cards from each aspect in deck building, but that does create a fun element here in that restriction, and should give us a lot of variety when we see Spider-Woman hit the table. Speaking of our hero form, let's take a look at what we get when we flip over. We can see here that Spider-Woman has a 1/1/1 stat line with a hand size of 5 and hit points of 11. She is an Avenger and a Spy, and she has the ability Superhuman Agility, Interrupt. When you play an aspect card, Spider-Woman gets +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense until the end of the round. Limit once per round for each aspect. Whoa, this can get fun. We have 4 aspects in the game. We are looking at a potential of 5/5/5 stat line for a round. That could put some serious work in. We did learn from the live stream that Spider-Woman's signature cards will have 2 of each aspect: aggression, justice, leadership, and protection, which means that while we can only bring 2 aspects to the deck building side, according to her double agent ability, we could still get this kind of dream turn where we get all 4 aspects played and get that high value stat line paired with our Spider-Woman to go through and take on 1 or more of the threats on the table. It should also be noted that basic cards aren't going to count towards this boost, although I think several are going to become staples of her deck, allowing her to ready and reuse that boosted stat line. The live stream was not as generous with Spider-Woman's signature cards, but we did get 1 preview, so let's take a quick look at Pheromones. Here you see Pheromones. It's a 2-cost event with the superpower keyword. It reads hero action, stun, and confuse an enemy. And then it has the note that this card is both a Spider-Woman card and a leadership card. So you can see the leadership card frame here on the Spider-Woman signature, with the Spider-Woman signature icon. This is going to, of course, boost our hero stat line while being able to cripple one of our enemies, preferably our villain. With some good teamwork, we could shut down a villain on both fronts, attacking and thwarting, buying us the time that we need to clean things up or finish him off for 1 or more turns. It's good to note again that leadership characteristic of this card will allow cards like the power of leadership to interact favorably with it, giving the double resources to play it. The ability itself seems pretty basic here to throw a stun and confuse on an enemy, but it does give us some insight into what we can expect in the signature pool from Spider-Woman here. I do expect to see a lot of trickery and manipulation out of her, looking to control what our villain is going to be able to do and win. And then we can remember that our alter ego form does have that activated ability that lets us take a look at the top of the encounter deck, or any other deck for that matter, to see what is coming. So hopefully there's going to be a lot of options there to exploit that information, give us the ability to switch back and forth, take a peek, and then come back over, boost our stat line, and take advantage of the full range of this card's options. Of course, we have seen both of these heroes already in the game, and we were given some information from our friends at FFG about how interactions are going to play out between our new heroes and our previously existing allies. Obviously, we're talking about the Spider-Woman and Hawkeye allies that are already in the game. Spider-Woman appearing as a signature ally in the Captain Marvel deck from the core set, and then we also got Hawkeye in the core set as an ally who has become a staple of many of the leadership decks that we see with his direct damage ability. Very useful and helpful to take care of those minions and to get damage tossed around the board when he is in play and those guys come out to engage us. However, it has been confirmed that neither ally could be played while their matching hero is being played, and so they basically become a generic resource in that situation. While it's probably going to be pretty easy to just remove Hawkeye and substitute him for a different leadership card, possibly for a new ally that we might talk about in just a moment, FFG did confirm that there's not going to be a replacement card for the Miss Marvel deck, and so if you're playing Spider-Woman beside Miss Marvel's just going to be carrying around an effectively dead card or just a wild resource with her ally. In addition to the exciting signature cards for each hero, the expansion did come with some aspect cards that are playable in any deck, as long as you're playing the appropriate aspect, and we got our first taste of what some of those cards are going to look like, and boy did things get pretty exciting in this part. Our first 3 aspect cards included in this new version include a Hawkeye, a soon-to-be staple in other ally decks, and some direct damage with perks. So first let's take a look at that Hawkeye. We've got Hawkeye Kate Bishop. Kate's version of Hawkeye is a 2-cost leadership ally with 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 1 consequential damage for either of those actions. She has 2 health, the Avenger keyword, and an action ability. Exhaust this ally and discard 1 card from your hand. Deal X damage to an enemy, where X is the number of printed resource icons on that card. I mean, what a cool take on the Hawkeye persona here. Continuing with the direct damage theme, we get a mechanism for perpetual direct damage, so long as we always have a card to discard. And at this point, we only have 1 or 2 resources printed on a card, but who knows what we will see in the future. I'm excited to get this going on some of my leadership builds. I'm pretty happy to see the 2-cost, as we are all well aware that there's a significant difference in the game between a 2-cost and a 3-cost ally. Of course, having just addressed the downsides of a unique hero and an ally conflict, it stands to reason that we may want to know what the potential issues are with having 2 versions of the Hawkeye ally in our deck. Thankfully, we were given an answer to that as well, and recalling the qualifications for what is a unique card title, we can be certain that Hawkeye Kate Bishop is different than Hawkeye Clint Barton, and so we are safe to run both in our direct damage Hawkeye tribal leadership decks, so long as we don't include Clint Barton and Hawkeye as our hero, and of course Hawkeye Kate Bishop is welcome in the Hawkeye Clint Barton leadership deck. Jumping back over now and taking a look at the other 2 aspect cards that we were given spoilers for, we can see Team Training is going to be a 2-cost leadership support with the condition keyword. It reads, play under any player's control, max 1 per player, and then it says each ally you control gets +1 hit point. I can certainly think of a couple of allies that I would like to get a 3rd or a 4th activation out of, and several that would have some utility hanging around for an extra turn or 2. So I can easily see this becoming a staple in every leadership deck, maybe a 3 of in ally-centric decks, and certainly finding its way onto the table in many games. Finally, we did get to see Press the Advantage, which is going to be a 1-cost aggression event with the attack keyword. It has the hero action attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy. If that enemy is stunned or confused, draw 1 card. I'm pretty excited about anything that says draw cards. The condition on this might be difficult to build around, but at the right table, we have plenty of heroes that want to dish out stun and confuse from their signature pools, and so this could almost always be a 1-cost to deal 2 damage and draw 1 card. If that's the case, it's always going to find a home in my aggression decks, and it's going to see a lot of fun play, helping us get through our deck, get the right things into our hands, and continue to press the advantage as you would. Although we didn't get to see a full discussion and coverage of them, we also can turn to an old FFG tradition to get some more information on new player cards that are in the expansion. Of course, any true disciple of FFG already knows that the card fan has long been a gold mine, or maybe just a silver mine, for new cards and information that are coming in expansions that are soon to be released. The spoiler article for Rise of Red Skull carries on that tradition and gives us a partial view of many of the cards that can be found in the box. In addition to the cards that we've already discussed, we had the an additional signature card and an aspect card that we can partially decipher. We can take a look here at Venom Blast, which looks to be a 2-cost aggression Spider-Woman event from the Spider-Woman signature pool. It appears to have the attack and superpower keywords, and it could read hero action attack, deal 5 damage to an enemy. It also includes the Spider-Woman staple text. This card is both a Spider-Woman card and an aggression card. A straight 2-cost for 5 damage is going to be among the best in the game. There's nothing else that you have to say about that. And when you add the +1 stat boost that Spider-Woman's going to get from this, this thing could get real good. I don't think that I will be too disappointed when I get this into my hand at any moment when I'm playing as Spider-Woman. The other card that we can see in the fan looks like it's a 1-cost Justice event, Clear the Area. It's got the thwart keyword, and it looks like it's going to read action, thwart, remove 2 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from a scheme, draw 1 card. Again, 1-cost cantrips that can do good things are good. We've seen that time and time again. We don't know if this is going to be a hero action or if it's limited to 1 scheme, but being able to divide this possibly between 2 schemes would seem kind of broken to me, so I'm going to guess it's going to be remove 2 threat from 1 scheme. This is probably going to wrap up what we have in terms of the initial spoilers from the stream and the article on the player side of the box, but there was certainly a lot more information on new scenarios and the new campaign mode that we still need to look at. First of all, of course, our campaign mode is going to feature 5 new scenarios, and we've been told that there will be 5 new villains. Again, Crossbones, Absorbing Man, Taskmaster, Zola, and Red Skull. We've been given previews on the 2 villains, on the first 2 villains rather, Crossbones and Absorbing Man. So let's jump in and take a closer look at what Crossbones is going to bring to us. Crossbones is going to feature 1 scheme and 1 attack at level 1. He is a Hydra mercenary, and he has a star on his attack value, which comes with the text, while Crossbones has a weapon attachment. His attacks gain piercing, and piercing is a new keyword, which is going to tell us to discard any tough status cards from the target before dealing damage. To help us understand how bad this could get, we were also previewed the Crossbones machine gun, which is a weapon attachment that comes into play with 2 ammo counters on it per player. It has the forced interrupt that says when Crossbone attacks you, remove 1 ammo counter from this card and discard the top card of the encounter deck. Take indirect damage equal to the number of boost icons on the discarded card. So, worst case scenario, this card is going to wipe out our tough status card, skip our defense, and apply pure damage to our heroes based on the number of boost icons on the card that gets discarded. I'm not sure how this could get much worse, but I'm sure we're going to see a way for that to be worse once we get into the full scenario. Our second villain, which was spoiled, is Absorbing Man, and let's take a look at what he has there. Absorbing Man is at level 1, has 1 scheme and 2 attack. He is a brute, and he has the text, Absorbing Man gains the trait of each environment in play. So in order for us to fully understand him, they had to give us an environment to look at. They gave us Snowy Hillside, which has the ice trait, and then it reads Surge, forced response. After Absorbing Man makes an undefended attack against you, place 1 threat on the main scheme. 2 threat instead if there are 5 or more delay counters on the main scheme. It also has a boost effect that says put this card into play. So we're going to get these out onto the table very regularly with these boost effects, or having them revealed. When they do come out onto the table, they're going to carry with them these responses that could trigger at different times. This one's triggering off of an undefended attack. It's also going to give Absorbing Man the ice trait, and then it looks like we needed to learn what's going to happen with the traits. Also, it looks like the environments are going to be persistent, so they're going to get on the table. It doesn't say how they're going away or if they're going away. I would assume there could be several of these in play with different traits, and so we're going to have some possibly bad outcomes in front of us, particularly if we pile up delay counters, apparently, which looks to increase the bad things that happen depending on our environment. We did get to see what happens with the traits by looking at the card Omnimorph Duplication on the live stream. Omnimorph Duplication is a treachery that reads when revealed. It says when revealed if Absorbing Man has, and then it goes through each of the traits and tells us what happens for each one. So with the ice trait, we're going to see exhaust your identity. With the metal trait, give Absorbing Man a tough status card and heal 1 damage from him. With the stone trait, give Absorbing Man 1 face down boost card, and then with the wood trait, discard 1 card at random from your hand. So it looks like this is a card that I wouldn't mind canceling if it comes up. If there is a way for you to have 2 different traits at the same time, this could be really bad. Hopefully, though, those environments maybe replace each other. We'll find that out as we get into the box and see what the specific rules are for the scenario, though. Finally, let's just talk briefly about campaign mode. We didn't get a lot of details, but we did get some information. One great aspect of the LCG space is the ability to have multiple play modes with the same card pool. We already have single and multiplayer modes with adjustable difficulty in a variety of scenarios to keep this game from getting stale, but there's always more we can add, and FFG has done a great job to work out the logistics for a campaign mode here for Marvel Champions, which is going to include carryover elements, sequential and story-based play, adjustable difficulty that will include elements like persistent HP for our heroes, and we'll be including with this box a specially designed campaign book that's going to allow us to track our progress and add some immersive elements to the game. Overall, I'm very excited about the opportunities that campaign mode is going to bring to the table, and I hope that future expansions are going to include elements of campaign play so that we can expand this out and make a full playthrough of this with other options being brought in. The final piece of news that we got from the preview content this last week was a forecast of the next cycle of hero and scenario packs. It looks like the end of this year is going to be filled with excitement, starting with a new scenario and then closing out with 4 new heroes over 4 months. Of course, current world events may affect the release schedules or the distribution, but we did get these 5 silhouettes to keep us guessing until the official announcements are made. So take a minute here, leave a comment with your thoughts on who we're going to see in these upcoming packs. Are those the X-Men silhouettes, or is there something more obscure here? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below, and let's all enjoy the opportunity to speculate together. And that does conclude this edition of Marvel Champions News with Nomad Gaming. We are so glad to have had you with us, and if you would like to lend your support to our channel for free, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more awesome content in the future. Until next time, let's go game.